Good evening, everybody. It is 10:09 p.m., November 2nd, 2024. YouTube says that I'm alive. This is another good day. It's Saturday, November 2nd, 2024. It's getting a little chilly outside. Let's see what the temperature is going to be here. And I'll wait for you guys to come in. And as you come in, if you could hit the thumbs up. I should have some music playing. I'm always afraid of the copyrighted music. Hello, hello, hello. We'll wait for people to receive notifications. I just received a notification of a comment under the owner of Peanuts, the squirrel speaks out. And they wrote, somebody somewhere found out that they were voting for Trump. Peanut the squirrel was going to vote for Trump, and that's why he was taken out. Oh my goodness. Yeah, you never know. You just never know. Well, we know the current administration doesn't like animals. Hello, everybody. I see one person and that keeps fading in and out because you're probably having a difficult time getting into the chat. I'll wait a couple of minutes. And while I'm waiting, let me see if I can find, I had this non-copyright music. And let me see if I can just find it on YouTube here. Let's see if I can find something in the meantime to play in the background. Let's see. Here we go. Chill background. Let's see what this chill background sounds like. I'll wait for people to come in. I see two people. Hello, hello. Well, this evening, once people get into the chat, I'm going to read a chapter from Forbiidden Tech, a complete guide to energy, social, and biological technologies that they did not want you to know about, by Naima, Morris, and Tivon Rivers. And it's a chapter on solutions, a word of encouragement to targeted individuals, TIs, and victims of electronic harassment. So I'll be reading that chapter and a little bit more, and whatever you guys want to speak about. So I'll wait a little while longer. I don't know if you guys can hear the music in the background. I figured I don't want you to come in and I'm not speaking and think that the live is not available. So I see two people. If you two people can hit the thumbs up, that would be helpful. I was really glad to see that Other YouTube creators now are talking about the unaliving of Peanut the squirrel. I mean, I guess those officers felt really good storming his house, searching for a squirrel. What pathetic losers, let me tell you. I think that those whoever did that needs to reconsider their career path. I know. Poor little Peanut. Peanut was an internet, a TikTok sensation. Peanut, he found Peanut as a little baby. The mommy got hit by a car. And this is just so common. I mean, I have found kittens, you know, deer leave behind their little baby does because they get hunted. They leave behind their babies. And this is a very common thing. And the babies can't raise themselves. They'll end up dying. So, humans come along or the animals go up to humans for safety. And, most humans want to do what's best for the wild animal, for the wildlife. And then we'll release the animal back into, in the environment once they're a little bit older. But most of the time, because they were raised, as a baby with a human indoors, they don't readily want to go outside. And when they do, they usually come back. So that's pretty much what happened with Peanut. Peanut was living inside, but was allowed to go outside, had his own little house out there. I mean, this is very common. I mean, people have raised baby deer in the home, and then they go out. They'll leave. They'll go have more babies, and then bring the whole the whole gang back to the person that saved them. It's very common. But these wildlife people, I mean, they have nothing better to do. Could you imagine? Wouldn't you love to know? Maybe we can FOIA request how much money, how much money those officers were paid for that raid. So I'm going to let go of this music now that some people are in here. That was some copyright free music while people are coming in. And my screen, just as an FYI, my screen has been freezing up today. I'm trying to get out of some documents here. Just try to close down some tabs. I hope everybody's doing well. It's going to be daylight time, so we're going to, and I'm still not able, I've got like all these open tabs, and for some reason, they're not closing. Oh, good. I'm so glad. I was going to mention that, in addition to me contacting YouTube, it might be a good idea, if you ever have time or whatever, to just like after the live stream, send them feedback that there's this weird voice in the background. Because it hasn't only happened once, it's happened quite a few times already. I don't hear it. Like when you hear it while I'm speaking, I don't hear it. I'll hear it on the replay, like after I end the live stream and then go to play it back, I'll hear it underneath. It is really creepy. I don't know what it's saying. Like I would have to, I guess, slow it down to listen to the words. I mean, I just haven't done that. But somebody mentioned to download this software program called Audacity, and I have downloaded it. I just have to kind of figure out how to use it. I used it in New Jersey a few times and was able to use, you're able to slow audio down. Yes. Oh, of course. I mean, they obviously, when you're under surveillance, they know that I have a live stream. So all the creepos, so not only are they listening in, but they know that I'm tied to my laptop for a certain amount of time. So I guarantee that they're running around my property doing disgusting stuff because that's what they do. They're creeps. They're thieves. They're sadistic. They're satanic. They have nothing better to do with their lives than follow mine. But it's not just me, it's you guys too. Like I received a testimony from someone who lives in another country. I was going to read it, record it before I went live, but I figured, you know what, I just want to give it a little bit more time because I have to reread it because the wording is a little different. So I want to read it again and then record it, and I'll probably post that tomorrow. So, this targeting is worldwide, and this woman who gave me her testimony, she's traveled around, and it follows her wherever she goes, and she's married. Yeah, they're all in on the shenanigans. They've been on your videos too. These are cyber stalkers. They're committing crimes, and they don't care because they're psychopaths. They don't see the world the way we do, which is why we're well, and you know what? They're going to be disposed of anyway. That's usually the way it goes. So I actually see 3 people. I don't know if people are just listening. Sometimes people listen on their phone and they don't have access really to the live chat, but they'll be listening on the phone. And then, of course, there are people on the West Coast. So they're 3-hour time difference. So I'm going to be reading. There's a chapter towards the end of the book, Forbiidden Tech, by Naima Morris and Tivon Rivers. I'll read what's on the back about the authors. Naima Morris holds an MBA and a variety of business experience in corporate and government finance and small business entrepreneurship. In 2012, she left the corporate world to build an online business through blogging, marketing, teaching, and a passion for humanitarian projects. In 2014, Naima's stepfather designed an open-source free energy generator prototype, and she traveled around the world with her family building free energy prototypes and growing her online business. This is also when she met her partner, Tivon Rivers. Naima and Tivon are both American expats living and working together in Morocco, where they have been sponsoring a local community center for marginalized women and children. And Tivon Rivers has been doing clean energy research for 16 years. He's a former Navy technician with additional experience in information technology and software education in the health industry. Tivon met Naima through following her family's free energy prototype project and then joining them for a build in the UK. They became a couple and have been working together on building prototypes and online education since this time. Tivon is the designer of his own experimental energy devices, including a switch reluctance generator and a flywheel. In 2014, Tivon became a victim of targeted electronic harassment and has since then done extensive research to help protect himself and other targeted individuals. This includes his recent development of powerful orgone devices. And yes, they have a website where you can purchase these orgonite devices that you keep by your computer, your laptop. your phone, some of them, jewelry pieces that you can wear around your neck. I mean, they're quite attractive. So now about this book, if you live on this planet, you are affected by technology. We all use energy every day. We all breathe the chemicals in the air and eat them in our food. We are all part of a society that has been using covert operations on its citizens. It's time for us to wake up and understand what has been going on in our world when it comes to hidden technologies. Whether you're an engineer, a do-it-yourself enthusiast, a scientist, or just your average Jane or Joe, this book was written for you. If you try to do research on your own, it can be confusing and overwhelming. There are a lot of disinformation and propaganda on the internet, and sadly, a lot of scams that take advantage of people. The true nuggets of wisdom and facts are very hard to find, and we know because we've spent years searching for them. With this book, we've taken everything we found and compiled it into one basic crash course. Among the many topics covered in this book, you'll learn about free energy, patents, political scandals, unalivings and cover-ups, engineering basics, cars that run on water, surveillance, gang stalking, energy weapons, and viable solutions to protecting yourself against them. We've cut out all the fluff and brought you right to the heart of the matter. So now I've read, I guess, a couple of live streams and then a couple of videos. I've read chapters from this book, and I'll probably just jump around because I like to do that. So the chapter that I'm going to read is on page 253. So for anybody that's coming into the chat, I'm going to read a chapter from Forbiidden Tech by Naima Morris and Tivon Rivers. Solutions. Phew, thank you for hanging in there with us. It's a lot of really ugly stuff, but like I said in the beginning, there's real things you can do to protect yourself. As hinted in the previous chapter, those suffering from aerosol-based illnesses and electronic harassment have a common enemy. They represent the tip of the spear of what will be growing trend of afflictions and persecutions thrusted upon an awakening public. Fortunately, it's now being realized that there is indeed a common enemy to the human condition and life as a whole. We want to give you a high-level perspective of where things are headed and know where and how to look for answers. You don't have to be afraid of these things. They exist, but we can beat them. So let's talk about some solutions. A word of encouragement. To targeted individuals, TIs, and victims of electronic harassment. For those who are targeted with electronic harassment, ignore, dismiss, inserted threats, fears, and negative thoughts. Anyone who's being electronically harassed understands that this is a daily battle. To be a victim of energy direct V2K is something that I'd never wish on anyone to experience. Threats and fear is meant to ultimately destroy you mentally and spiritually from the inside out. Dismiss them. When you feel depressed or are receiving what I call quote-unquote signals, technically they're not really voices. They are signals. Understand that that's all they are. They're suggestions that block your mind from engaging in things that you like to do in this world. If you feel that you're out in public and you have someone coming to you in a certain way to elicit a certain response, stop and recognize what it might be. Try not to give them too much attention, but instead collect evidence and post it online, which is what I do. I collect evidence and post it online. Tell your story and reprove, rebuke, and expose this fraud. Remember, these are perverts for spying on you and invading your privacy. Take photos and videos of suspicious activities and build a case file. It's a lot of time and effort, but it's worth it. If you have the budget, you can also resort to surveillance equipment to record the citizen stalking. It can be expensive, But that's basically what people have had to resort to in order to prove their case. Consider to research ways of gathering more technical evidence of your electronic harassment and hire your own investigator. Join the research to find ways to attenuate the electromagnetic effects upon yourself and your family and share with the online and local TI community. Continue to do the things in your life that make you happy. You must make this a conscious decision daily to help reprogram your mind. And also, the more you do this, you're also learning how to cope with these negative suggestions. You will gain an internal strength that you didn't realize was in you. Daily remind yourself that you are a human being, wonderfully and fearfully made. If you're a TI, you probably also understand the power of prayer. If you're a victim of this stuff, there are times you feel like you're going to lose your mind. Regardless of what belief system or religious background you may come from, prayer in general is extremely effective to combat this kind of attack. We too have been through some tough times where I'm with Tivon and he's been undergoing an attack of sorts, and we stop and pray together, and that stops the attacks. Just know that ultimately God is your source. There are also support groups out there, both brick and mortar and online. Find one, join. Have a close friend or a partner in your journey. It's really helpful because trying to tell others that you're being electronically tortured and they don't support you is really hard to deal with. So try to find a good friend that gets it and that you can talk to. Hi, Battle for Your Brain. Welcome, welcome. I'm reading a chapter in the Forbiidden Tech by Naima Morris and Tivon Rivers. It's Solutions for Targeted Individuals. Daily remind yourself that you're a human, wonderfully and fearfully made. Oh, wait, I read that already. There are support groups out there, brick and mortar. Find one, join one. It's really helpful because trying to tell others that you're being electromagnetically tortured and they don't support you is really hard to deal with. So try to find a good friend that gets it and that you can talk to. In truth, the operators who are in these programs tend to not do anything more than the occasional surveilling. The platform is artificial intelligence based and will not overtly project themselves too much, or else then the budget grows. Remember, there's always a budget. So if you ever do become targeted, make sure that you make it very expensive for them. Tell others to do the same. Some consortium, foundation, or government has put a lot of money in this program to find ways to break the human psyche and ruin people's lives. It is our goal to make sure that you are given knowledge and the tools to live in a long and fruitful life and that you choose life. Let's expose these criminals for what they are and let's beat the Leviathan together. So that means we have to make it really expensive for them. How do we do that? We have to brainstorm on ways to make them spend more money on us. You know, because we're so special, right? We want special treatment. We want special treatment, you know, more than just the average direct TV satellite that was placed at the foot of my driveway on Halloween, saying that they're the hillbilly mafia. That didn't cost them all that money. They probably had one of these direct TV satellite dishes hanging around somewhere, and they just decided to draw on it. You know, my neighbor is an electrician, right? Detox, detox, detox. Okay, I'm just going to say for the record, because YouTube, you know, this is for educational purposes only. I'm not a medical doctor. I'm not giving any medical advice. I'm merely reading a book. And it's very helpful to eat healthy foods and eat healthy things that help get rid of negative things inside of our body. So detox, detox, detox. It's imperative to remove the accumulating metallic particles from the body since there is evidence that suggests that these nanotechnologies and biofilms were genetically modified in a lab to self-assemble themselves inside our body, thus microchipping us from the inside out. Isn't that interesting? Makes me feel just so warm and cozy. The most powerful weapon we have is to remove foreign invaders from the body is our immune system. We can do cleanses and to be sure that we always have important vitamins, minerals, and other health supplements on hand to counteract effects. Aluminum is one of the chemicals being sprayed. It's a neurotoxin, meaning it's absorbed by the nerve endings, where it disrupts vital functions of the cell. The reason we are only discussing detoxing the element chemical aluminum is because of its high levels in the chemical being sprayed in the trails and nowadays found in most of the environment. Of course, there are problems with other environmental heavy metals, but these are beyond the scope of this book. The best reason for removing aluminum from the body is the association between increased aluminum levels in the brain of Alzheimer's patients and the increased levels of environmental aluminum from those things that stripes in the sky. Over the past 20 years, aerosolized aluminum passes very easily along the olfactory tract, and it goes directly into the brain, bypassing the blood-brain barrier, and accumulates in the entorhinal cortex, a part of the brain responsible for memory and learning. And that's actually the part of the brain that a lot of targeted people claim to be targeted. The basic protocol found below is specifically for heavy metal neurotoxins, aluminum, mercury, lead, etc. And I just want to add, to targeted people, if you don't have a tattoo, try not to get a tattoo because many of the newer tattoos, it depends on where the ink is being manufactured, also contain heavy metals. Let's see. And we make strengthening our immune system through diet and lifestyle top priority. Get the aluminum out. Also, don't cook your food in aluminum foil. Like back in the day, I know when I was growing up, that was like a big thing, was to line the baking pans with aluminum foil, put your food on it, and it would bake and whatever. Don't do that. Okay, get the aluminum out. A high protein, mineral, and fatty acid diet with lots of fluids is critical. Protein helps build the detox agent. Now, I'm really going to butcher this word. It's, let's see, coraloplasmin. Coraloplasmin. Methionine, glutathione, and others. Branched chain amino acids in cow and goat whey, WHEY, have important effects as well. And that whey is found in many yogurts and some protein drinks. Fatty acids must consistently be replenished because deficiency leaves the nervous system vulnerable to fat-soluble metals. If the kidneys, which is a detox organ, are contaminated, they may not be efficiently filtrating toxins. So you've got to flush with fluids. And I know that I don't even know what I can and can't say on YouTube anymore. There are certain herbs that help you to do that. I mean, I could possibly write them in the description section rather than speak them. All metal detox attempts should begin by creating a healthy trace mineral and electrolyte base. Optimize the gut function by eating pre- and probiotic foods and taking powerful probiotic supplements. One of those, actually, I don't know if you guys like sauerkraut or things that are pickled, sauerkraut, kimchi. Those are really good. Half of the functioning of the immune system is centered in the gastrointestinal tract, and the list of conditions that can be helped and perhaps prevented by having the right balance of intestinal bacteria is remarkable. Cilantro. This herb moves metals out of the bones and central nervous system fast. It must be taken with an intestinal absorbing agent such as chlorella. Chlorella, you can buy it pretty much anywhere, or just these tiny little green tablets. They're so easy. They're chelated. They're so easy to take. Like there are some vitamins and minerals that are encapsulated and they're difficult to swallow. Not these. Chlorella is really easy. And cilantro, I mean, you can grow it. Hi, Lizard Hunter. Oh, yeah, they definitely know what they do. Well, cilantro is also found in a lot of salsa. So if you buy salsa sauce, Mexican foods, Spanish foods, and stuff, they tend to use a lot of cilantro. These steps will help you maximize your nutritional status and detoxification ability. The research for cilantro and chlorella shows these nutrients can remove 80% of heavy metals from the body within 42 days. That's pretty good. We also suggest researching the benefits of iodine and supersaturated potassium iodide. This is really, iodine is really good for you. I mean, your thyroid needs it. And what happens is a lot of people don't salt their food or use salt with iodine. Research the benefits of drinking distilled water as it naturally pulls metals from the body. There are all different kinds of protocols that go along with the detox, and some of them are very effective in combating most of this type of warfare. And then there is magnetic pulse therapy. Another effective solution to use in parallel with a detox regimen that may be one of the most effective treatments in our research is the Bob Beck, BECK protocol. This is a magnetic pulsar, stage 3 protocol. The magnetic pulsar sends high current pulses to put back into circulation microbes which do not flow through the blood. The magnetic pulse penetrates deep into the body tissues. It liquefies the lymph and dislodges microbes from their hiding places. This field penetrates the skin and bones and can reach hidden bugs anywhere in the body. Its range is from 23 to 30 centimeters, but it's usually placed just above the skin. Microbes and nanoparticles hide in the lymph nodes and other major organs of the body. This is a portable magnetic device and can safely be pointed at any part of your body, with a few exceptions, like your eyes, testicles, etc. The pulse coil and the long handle closely resemble a small ping pong paddle. While the magnetic pulse itself is harmless to human cells, the coil can give a quick kick. That's why it has a plastic case around it. Again, this is for educational purposes only. I'm reading a chapter from a book. I'm not a medical doctor. This is not medical advice. Generally, the device is used for 20 minutes and then turned off for 20 minutes and then used again for 20 minutes. So it's 20 minutes on, 20 minutes off, and then 20 minutes on again. Different units, however, may have a different overheating thresholds. Make sure that you have covered every area of the body. There are 4 basic areas of the body that need to ensure are pulsed by the device. There are several considerations when using the magnetic pulsar. So one is the lymph nodes and the organs. Lymph nodes are near your spine and also cover the top of your head to your knees. It helps to have someone else handle the equipment while the lymph nodes are being pulsed because most of them are in your back near your spine. The organs, especially the stomach, should also be pulsed. Areas of the body where there is inflammation, swelling, or congestion. This is a very good anti-inflammatory device, and I can't say the word, the C word, there's likely to be a lot of microbes or C cells in those areas. Okay, I'm going to have to pass some of this stuff. Let's see. The liver is an organ of the body most responsible for getting toxins out of the body. Okay, I can't discuss this is about the C word. Let's see. Well, just fast forward here a second. Um, um, um. So the objective is to clean out the lymph system. Well, I'm just going to say too that there are lymphatic massages. You could actually do it yourself. You could do it with a roller. They have these sponge rollers that you can use where you roll your body on them, and it loosens up the lymph. It moves the fluid in the lymph by massage. Let's see. There's also something called, it's called a TENS unit. There's these like little pads, and it's a little a box that has these little electrical currents through it. I started using it when I was going to a chiropractor, and you can buy them on Amazon or eBay. Like, you can buy one for $30, and they're really good for stimulating certain parts of your body. Like if you've got like any problems with your sciatic nerve and stuff, it really does help stimulate that area. It says, do not point the device at any jewelry that's attracted to magnets. And you can wear your clothes, but not things that have any metal on them, such as buckles, etc. Let me fast forward here. Okay, and then there's orgone. And they actually create these. Orgone. Wilhelm Reich was an Austrian psychoanalyst. He was an author of several influential books, most notably Character Analysis, The Mass Psychology of Fascism, and The Sexual Revolution. Reich became known as one of the most radical practitioners of psychiatry. Reich's discovery also revealed the role of emotional, sexual energy in the psychosomatic process. What at first appeared to be only bioelectricity was later clarified by Reich as a much more complex and powerful bioenergetic force, a form of life energy at work within living organisms, expressing itself as emotion and sexuality, but also directly observable in the microscope as a bluish, glowing field around living blood cells and other substances. This bluish glowing energy, which he eventually called orgone energy, ORGONE energy, to preserve its relationship with the living processes, is an observable physical phenomenon similar to older ideas of the vital force and cosmic ether combined. During the course of Reich's investigations, he developed a special metal-lined enclosure which attracted a high charge of orgone energy inside itself directly from the atmosphere. He called his device the orgone energy accumulator. The orgone accumulator, which is ORAC, was proven to charge seeds, increase garden plant growth, speed healing of burns and cuts, and there were a number of physical experiments which demonstrate anomalous phenomenon inside the accumulator. Reich observed that certain kinds of low energy illnesses, such as the C word, would symptomatically yield to careful application of the orgone accumulator. So this is a Dr. Wilhelm Reich. He was an Austrian psychoanalyst. Reich's experiments in these directions led to even more controversy. He developed new methods for ending drought and greening deserts, which led to the development of his cloudbuster and new approaches to the problem of nuclear waste detoxification. The cloudbuster was a device with rows of 15-foot of aluminum pipes mounted on a mobile platform connected to cables that were inserted into water. He believed that it could unblock orgone energy in the atmosphere and cause rain. Oh, wow, isn't that interesting? I wonder if he's responsible for what happened in North Carolina. The Dr. Wilhelm Reich blood tests, RBT. Oh, you've got. I wish I could share this image with you. You've got to see this machine, this contraption that he built. It's like it's ridiculous. The Oregon energy experiments can readily be replicated. We believe that Dr. Reich's theories deserve an unbiased scientific investigation. One of the more famous of these experiments has to do with Dr. Reich's Oregon accumulators. Let's see, let's turn the pages here. See if we can find some more interesting things. According to Dr. Reich, as soon as red blood cells leave the blood vessels, they begin disintegrating into cysts, and the decay process begins. Reich calls these cysts bions, B-I-O-N-S. He observed that bions pulsated and were motile. Intriguingly, in healthy organisms, they gave off an intense blue light. Classic biology also describes bions as characteristic protrusions of the cell membrane. This phenomenon was called bebbling, B-E-B-B-L-I-N-G, bebbling. Okay, so this is getting to be a little technical and stuff. So I'm going to fast forward here and see if we can find something else that's helpful. Okay, then there's organite. Organite was invented by Carl Hans Wells, also Australian. Organite is a mixture of catalyzed epoxy resin and metal shavings, particles, and powders poured into molds. It attracts orgone energy similarly to Reich's accumulators. Some people also add quartz crystals to the mixture to enhance the performance of organite. I mean, some of you guys might have seen these. Like they look like pyramids, and they might have a coil in it, and quartz. Different kinds of quartzes or little pieces of metal. They're actually really pretty. Some people use them as paperweights. Place them near the computers or your bed at night. They're really pretty. How organite works. In recent years, the New Age movement and occultists have done a lot of work to discredit the science of organite. There have been wild, outlandish claims that organite can do all manner of supernatural things, from opening cosmic portals to communicating with little green men. We hope to clear up this confusion by explaining the basic scientific effects that orgone has and how you can use organite to clean the environment around you. So it's supposed to help clean the environment. Organite, not orgone, organite converts the positive charge, a bad one, into a negative charge, a good one, in the form of negative ions, which is good for you. It acts as a passive ionizer for the environment. Organite emits soft electrons that can be detected with an ion counter. The resin in organite shrinks during the curing process and permanently squeezes the quartz crystal, which creates a well-known piezoelectric effect inside the crystal, meaning that its endpoints become polarized electrically. This causes it to function more effectively as a positive energy generator. Although crystals improve the function of organite, they are not necessary for the organite to work. Organite also changes the pH of tap water, and it makes water more alkaline based, the structures of the water, by energizing it, which is really good because illness can only exist in an acidic environment, not an alkaline one. What this all means for the average person is that organite is an effective tool to help protect you from harmful effect of electromagnetic frequencies, or EMFs. As we have covered in other sections of this book, several energy technologies in our world have deleterious effects on health. As a quick review, here are some of the effects that many people suffer from EMFs. Okay, so these are some of the effects of electromagnetic fields. Protein changes in the skin, excited brain cells, DNA damage, brain cell damage, aggressive growth in leukemia cells, increased blood pressure, changes in hormone levels, reproductive health issues, and more. When freezing water above organite, a tornado pattern is frozen in the ice, giving the water a crystalline structure when it thaws, as seen in the picture below, which of course you can't see. Anyone can build these devices with ease and find the materials. Organite is simply a mix of metal and resin, like a polyester or urethane or epoxy. It can be bored into all kinds of shapes: pyramids, cones, discs, cylinders, and pendants, to name a few. Some people use organite to combat pollution and cell tower radiation. Others use it for clearing or purifying energies in their houses or to enhance the growth of plants in their garden. It seems to work really well in all kinds of various spiritual healing work. We have received positive feedback on the organite given to our friends. I have personally found it very effective in combating the things above, those lines in the sky, and improving my overall health against electronic harassment when worn as pendants. Even your pets will be drawn to these objects. And how good is that? Not all organite is the same, though. The organite shown previously was made using powder instead of large items inside of the resin. The reason for this is that the powder has more surface area, and the greater the surface area once inside the resin, the more effective or powerful the orgone device will be. Some of the orgone devices are aesthetically pleasing and very ornamental. However, they are nowhere near as effective when tested against the powder-based orgone devices. Testing includes using the ion meter and comparing the crystalline structures in ice and plant growth. Yeah, so they have a photo here of an ornamental organite. I mean, they're very pretty. So in conclusion, we hope this wide array of information was helpful in educating you about the many different forms of hidden technology that exist in our world. It's become our life's work to understand these technologies so that we can learn how to protect ourselves against those that are harmful and help develop those that can truly benefit humanity. If this information is helpful to you, please share it far and wide, which can with as many people that are willing to listen. We are on the cutting edge of something new being developed in our technological world. Hopefully, as humankind advances, we can continue to pursue technology in an open source, cooperative global environment without suppression or danger. Until this day comes, we encourage everyone to support the garage tinkerers and grassroots engineers. Some say that small is the big new. It will take a movement of people to help bring out the innovative technologies that we need and to protect us against the harmful technologies that we don't need. Knowledge is power. We hope that each and every person who has read this book or taken our course now feels they're equipped with some of the basics they need for understanding our technological world. Until the day comes when we all break through into a new future, we want to thank you for being our comrades in this great work. We encourage you to stay informed and keep fighting the good fight, and we'll see you on the other side. So that was actually the last chapter of the book Forbiidden Tech, the complete guide to energy, social, and biological technologies that they did not want you to know about, by Naima Morris and Tivon. And I've read a few chapters from here. Like I read I don't know if it was last week or the week before, I read the chapter on patents. So the whole chapter here on patents, and let's see what I read here. Let's see. Yeah, so here's on the patents that we uncovered here. Patent trap, how they process patents, the laws of physics, and some of the chapters in this book are energy weapons, electronic harassment, the V2K patents, the fractal antennas, the mode of attack for a targeted individual, the Hutchinson effect. I think I read this like 2 or 3 weeks ago. And I think last week I read about, last week I read this on the transhumanism, the ascent of the new man with the Morgellons, the quantum dots, the biofilm, and the tracking patents. So if you have any questions or comments on this book, you can leave them down below, or when this live stream uploads, in the comments section. So I don't know if you guys have had the opportunity to see the video, the 2 videos that I posted about Peanut the squirrel. I mean, it's really like going around because, the government has such an overreach in certain things. Like, it just baffles the mind that 4 different agencies and a judge signed a warrant to search the home of this nonprofit animal rescue and seize a 7-year-old squirrel, a pet squirrel, and their pet raccoon. It's just unbelievable. When he was interviewed, everything that he was describing was that of a targeted person. The things that they do to targeted people is just totally off the charts. But most people listening to this story about Peanut the squirrel, if you're not a targeted person or know their methods, their methodology and stuff, they're just looking at it as a horror thing. Like, how did this happen? Like, it's terrible. And that's good. Like, it's really important that people share the story. But as targeted people, we look at it differently because this is just what they do. It's just a pathetic program. It's a protocol. And they get away with it. Could you imagine being a cop, right? And part of your job is to violate someone's civil human rights, barge into their home, make them stay outside of their home while they're searching your home looking for a 7-year-old squirrel. And then steal that 7-year-old squirrel, euthanize it, because they claim that they have to test it for rabies. And anybody that doesn't understand what a rabies test is, any animal that is tested for rabies must be unalived. They actually decapitate it. I don't know, can I use that word? They remove the head. And that's what they did to this raccoon. And this is what they did to the squirrel. Now, anybody that knows anything about rabies, let me just backtrack. And I was going to do a separate video on this, and I will do a separate video on this. I have been rescuing cats since I'm 5 years old. I was that kid that would find the strays outside and bring them home and say, "Mommy, can I keep it?" And then when I was older, when I was a teenager and my mother had remarried, my stepfather hated cats. Absolutely hated them. So I would sneak the cats in, and my mother says you could have them, but you just can't. You have to keep it in your bedroom. You can't let it out. You can't let my now deceased stepfather to see it. I said no problem. I don't mind keeping the cat in my bedroom. So I was that kid that always rescued the animals. And then I was one of those in my 30s and 40s and 50s and 60s, and I now have a 501c3 nonprofit cat rescue. So back in New Jersey, there were people that would say, "Oh, this animal is rabid," or whatever. The symptoms of what you physically see in an animal that has rabies is very similar to an animal that is dehydrated. And this happened in New Jersey a couple of times. Animals tend to, when they give birth, they want to find a safe place for their animals. So, like around here, we don't have sewers, right? So, but in New Jersey, we have sewers. That's where the water flows in the local homes and stuff. So, a lot of animals will drag their babies down into the sewers because there's usually a ledge in there where the water doesn't flow, and keep their babies there safe because, humans are not going to go down there and grab their babies. But sometimes it gets hot down there, especially like in New Jersey if the temperature's in the mid 90s, right? So there have been times when it's been incredibly hot where the animals leave the sewers and they're like literally wobbling around because they're dehydrated. And people think that they've got rabies. No, they don't have rabies. They're dehydrated. Give them some water and they'll be fine. So for these officers to go in there based upon a complaint for alleged health concerns is totally unfounded. It's total BS because an animal that has rabies would not be able to live inside anybody's house for 7 years and you not know about it. And if they had rabies, they would not have existed for 7 years. So, I mean, it's just total BS. But that's what they do with targeted people. They make up stories. They totally make up stories to cause trauma. It's trauma-based mind control and it's satanic ritual abuse. And that's what they did. It was a ritual abuse of these two animals. So I hope those officers go home and tell their wives what they did today. Oh, honey, I'm home. And honey, how was your day, honey? Oh, I just barged into somebody's house and grabbed their pets, and then we just off those pets. So I believe that there's going to be some heavy duty karma around the unaliving of these two innocent animals. And I think it's absolutely disgusting. But anyway, so some of the symptoms if an animal has rabies is they start wobbling. They look like they're drunk. That's what it is. They look like they're drunk and they just start acting weird. So they sometimes, if you go near them, because their equilibrium is off, they might bite you. I mean, this is normal protective behavior. If your equilibrium is off and somebody is there, they think that they're being assaulted, they think that they're in danger, they're going to snap at you. That's what animals do. So, and allegedly, this squirrel, when the officer barged in and tried to swipe up the squirrel allegedly bit him. But even if the squirrel did, well, shame on him. He wasn't supposed to be in the house. He wasn't supposed to be snatching up the animal. And any intruder that comes into your home, I don't know if you guys have cats or dogs, if you've got pets, if you had an intruder come into your house, do you think your pet might bite the intruder in self-protection? This is just common sense. I know my guineas here, my crazy guinea birds. They're not biters. Well, no, actually, they'll beat up a rooster. I haven't witnessed them beat up my rooster. Um, but they will circle around the stranger and they'll just start cackling like crazy. Like it's a whole group of, I call them like guinea gang stalkers. They just like start hacking, cackling, barking really loudly. Um, they alert me. They're like a house alarm. They alert me when there's a stranger on the property or an animal or something's just not right. So it just makes sense that if there's an intruder coming into this guy's home and he's got an animal there and they go to reach for that animal, the animal's going to nip at him. I mean, I can't even imagine how hard a squirrel could bite. I mean, it's not a dog, it's not a cat, it's a little teeny little squirrel. You know, it just baffles the mind that these big bad officers would make such a big deal about being bitten by a squirrel defending itself under about being taken out of their home. But anyway, I digress. So, guys, Tasha, are you still there? So I see that there are 4 people in the chat. And Battle, you still there? Is there anything that you guys want to discuss? Is there anybody that wants to offer a written testimony? I know there are a lot of people, like the testimony that I'm going to read, not now, but I'm going to read it in a separate video, specifically say that they don't want their name or their face. They don't want to show their face, and that's fine. Like I know when I first stumbled across the targeted community, when I was searching online, like numbers of people that follow you around, and I didn't want my name known. And then I would use my first name, and then I wouldn't use my last name, because my daughter was still living at home. So, there are a lot of people that they're scared. And they live in other countries that are more punitive than the United States. So, so if anybody has a written testimony, a lot of you guys leave me some really good feedback and comments on my videos. Just save some of them, in a document. Like if you're writing about yourself, that, oh, well, this happened to you and this happened to you. And yeah, that happened to your food, that happened to your clothing. Save them and, email them to me at alternativehomesteading@gmail.com. And I'll read them as part of your testimony. There are a lot of people out there that are just realizing that they're targeted. Then there are other people that know that they've been targeted for years, but nobody has validated the fact that people come in and poison their food, or that their food is being tampered with, or that their food is rotting from the inside out, or that metal objects in their home are suddenly corroded or rusted. There is corrosion technology. Yeah, DARPA. Thank you, DARPA. Yeah, and the Department of Defense. Yeah, they've got these wonderful technologies, and they have to experiment, and they're using them on the general population. So yes, they are corroding your nails and your screws and little metal objects in your house. They are stealing them. They do that here. So I just recognize that my Chromebook has been stolen. One of my iPads was stolen. I had to throw out this last week a sweatshirt that they destroyed, a pair of panties that they tore a hole in the crotch. I have another pair of pants they tore a hole in the crotch. Another one on my leggings, they tore 2 holes in the back of my leggings. This is just ridiculous, off the charts. They've stretched out socks. I mean, this is psychotic. These are sick people. Imagine waking up in the morning and saying, oh, well, today I'm going to go to work. And, well, what do you have to do today, honey? Your wife asks you, what are you gonna do today, honey? Oh, I'm gonna go to that lady's house down the block and I'm just gonna stretch out her clothing and sneak into her house and steal something. These are the losers. Just absolutely incredible. But the feedback that I'm getting from you guys and some of the emails that I receive, you're sharing your photos also. You're sharing photos of what they're doing to your pets and what they're doing to your clothes and what they've done to your food. And it's the same. This is not something that just normally happens. Everybody could say, oh well, it happens once in a while. Hi, Carl. I'm just going to read what you're saying out loud. Cal saying, I told landlord and fake tenants with ceiling thumpers below that they were sick. They are sick. Just call them out for what they are. They're sick lunatics. Oh, and I have a targeted female friend in California when she was living in an apartment, and she had one of those ceiling thumpers. What she did was, I don't know how she even did this, but she wanted to get even with them because her neighbors would play this music, like a recorder of music, and leave and play it all day long. So she decided she was going to get even with them, and she decided that she was going to put a microphone on the ceiling, like she pasted a microphone, and she just played music back to them one night, and then they stopped. They didn't like their own medicine. So, I mean, I don't live in an apartment, and generally, like the neighbors here drive by. Yeah, they're low frequency torture devices. Yep, absolutely, they are. They are. They're elf, extremely low frequency, but they're the harmful ones. They're the ones that are harmful. And like everybody, says that the voice hearers, that's really harmful, but there are two types of V2K. One is the one where you're hearing voices, and the one is where you're not hearing the voices, that it's subliminal. But that you can actually hear the voices on recordings. So one of the somebody left a comment that they can hear the voices in some of my recordings, that I need to run my recordings through Audacity and that I'll hear the voices, that they give themselves away. Well, I know this to be true because I had some of my recordings analyzed forensically, and there were people speaking in the background, and there were names that were named. And one of them just happens to be my neighbor's adult son. Yeah. And it's not a common name. So she's right on target. You walk past them sitting together and told them they're sick. They are sick. These people are nuts. But but think of it this way, like narcissists and psychopaths, unless they are intelligent enough to understand their psychopathy, they don't think there's anything wrong with them. They think that what they're doing is fine. And most of them are getting some kind of benefit from it. Whoever their handler is, whoever the person they report to is, whether it's a fusion center operative, the local sheriff's department, a county attorney, whoever they report to, they think that they're doing such a wonderful job. They're doing the bidding for somebody else. They're tools. They're just tools for somebody else. And then what ends up happening is these perpetrators, they end up knowing too much. So then they have to get rid of them somehow, in the future. They can't allow them to testify. Could you imagine? Imagine getting them into court, subpoenaing, and deposing these lunatics. Imagine them having to provide testimony before a jury of not their peers. Hi, Terry, how are you? Happy early birthday. Imagine bringing these losers before a jury of your peers, not their peers, like my peers, your peers, a jury of our peers, and having them deposed and sending them interrogatories and calling them as witnesses and calling everybody in the neighborhood as a witness would be so much fun. I don't know. I have fantasies of this. Just have to figure out when I have time to do it. When I was in New Jersey, it was so easy to file a lawsuit. The courthouse was so close by. I knew everybody there. I knew how to. I knew all the New Jersey laws and stuff, but it's so different here. It's very different here. So, and anyway, you don't get a fair shake here. They're all corrupt. Like, at least in New Jersey, there were pockets of corruption. The whole town wasn't corrupt. There were just pockets of corruption. But here, the whole friggin' town is corrupt. Every one of them is corrupt. So anyway, Terry, I read, because you're coming in now, I read a chapter from the book Forbiidden Tech. I've read some chapters from this book before, and I actually read the last chapter, which was for targeted individuals, supporting targeted people on words of encouragement, what to do. Basically, they're saying that you've got to tell your story. You have to rebuke and expose this fraud. It's really important to expose it. I know some people are afraid, but just think about this for a minute. Back with Hitler, some people were afraid to speak up, and they ended up going to the gas chambers because people did not speak up. We can't allow that to happen. These people need to be exposed. This whole program needs to expose. And yes, it is this huge octopus. It's not just your local people. This is beyond. Like what I can only speak for myself. I am being experimented on. I have been experimented on since New Jersey. There are start and beginning dates for when they've done things to me. I've seen the changes in my body, which was in perfect condition before. So I know exactly what they're doing. And the fact that I had my hair tested, I think it was last year. And this is a really good way to find out if you've got heavy metals in your body. You can get a hair analysis test. You can buy them on Amazon. And they're analyzed by a doctor, actually. It's called, let me just tell you who makes the test. 1 second. I have one here. Let me just find it. I've got a bunch of dented cans here. I ordered some food, and of course the cans show up dented. 1 second. Oh, it's doctor's data. Doctor's data. You can purchase a hair analysis test. It's like $100. And let me see. Here it is. Yeah, it's doctor's data, science insight. 22 elements and 17 toxins. And what you do is you cut off, underneath, like where your neck is, you cut off the hair and you stick it in this little packet and you send it off to them, and they'll send you a printed report with a bar graph and an analysis of your heavy metals. And I highly recommend it. Let me see. You got harassment charge 4 signs on window. Just put more up today. Not harassing. What does that mean? You got harassment charge for signs on. Oh, oh. So you put signs on the window. You're not afraid. At least you know some names and where they live. Well, I don't. I don't know the names of everybody. I mean, I know the names of the two families because I met them when I moved here. Oh yeah, I'm being absolutely. I have found these creeps. Let me tell you what I found: charred glass, tiny pieces of glass in my food. They're really trying to make me sick. Yeah, the license plates, etc. Oh, let me tell you something about the license plates. Once you get their license plates, they can change them. Like my stupid neighbor down the block. When I moved here, her license plate she had the audacity to have a license plate that said "blessed." When you work for the devil, you're not blessed, you're cursed. So she no longer has at least I'm not seeing the blessed license plate anymore. It's a new one. New vehicle, new license plate. So they do change the license plates. So you'll see that like every couple of years. They also get rental cars. You have a surveillance. Yeah, there's a lot of that's very common. The surveillance van. Very, very common. Yeah, they'll put poisons in the food like um tonight they sprayed an aerosol in front of my house. I went out to lock up my cats and then bring some leaves out to the burn pit. And when I returned, they had sprayed some perfumey aerosol in front of my house. And when that happens, today I happen to be wearing a turtleneck, so I just covered my face with it until I went back in the house. Yeah, the surveillance van is really very common. Yeah, photograph them. And this is the thing is like back in New Jersey, I started photographing these weird things that were happening to me. I didn't know what they were. And I wasn't aware of what was going on in the background. Sometimes when you take a photo, I really highly recommend this. When you take a photo, zoom in on it and examine everything because sometimes, I mean, there's a lot of witchcraft involved. Sometimes you'll find something left behind that you didn't see before. And this happened to me in New Jersey. I started taking pictures. My cats would show up dead. Um, and there's this one photo they took of my cat. It was like a young cat, like a year and a half old, who suddenly turned up unalived. And I noticed that they did something to the cat's eye. And you know how they like to do this to the eyes. But I didn't realize how it was done until I took the photo and examined it and blew it up. And I only realized that after the fact, like months, I don't know if it was years later. I blew it up and I saw a piece of wood on the floor next to the cat. I didn't. Welcome, welcome. Hi, Lucy. you saw a license that said "Do Work '07." Oh, that's hilarious. Well, I found there were a couple of cars around here that had license plates with my area code from New Jersey. My area code from New Jersey on their license plate. Yeah. Luna the ceiling thumper. Yeah. So when you take photos, even the inconsequential ones, save them because they may mean something to you in the future. And when you blow them up, you may see something that you didn't see before. So I've done that by blowing up photos, and I have found these symbols embedded. And then I found this piece of wood, like a small piece of branch, but this was no ordinary branch. This was a ritual device that was crafted specifically to do what they did. The reason I know that is it was right next to the cat on the floor, but I didn't know it at the time. I didn't know it for a couple of years later when I found the same piece of wood in my backyard that had nothing to do with any of the plants or shrubs on my property. So it was brought to my yard, and it was brought to my feral cat colony by someone who crafted it. But again, I didn't know it at the time, but it was what they used to harm my cat. And it was a black cat, it was a young cat. And I can't show you the photo because, one, I can't show you photos here. And if I were to post it in the community section, YouTube would take it down. Yeah, but they sometimes use license plates like that. Like in New Jersey, I went to the post office and I parked my car, walked out, and I was walking out. There was a woman with a t-shirt walking towards me, and on the t-shirt it said chosen one. I did a double take. Chosen one? Well, that chosen one is the chosen one that went into my locked car and took the SD card out of my dash cam. And I was literally in the post office like minutes just going to my post office box. And when I came out, that chosen one, wearing the chosen one t shirt, went in my car and stole my SD card. Yeah, the neighbors do like to hide. They're like children. they're like sick children. Do you notice that they act like they're, I don't know, they act like they're pubescent kids. But we have daylight savings time, so we're going to have an extra hour. We're going to have an extra hour of sleep tonight, which means that my animals are going to be all crazy tomorrow. Yeah, they do change the license plate. They do make noise. They do poison your food. They do break into your house. They do spread defamation and slander in the community. They lie. They fabricate. And now with AI and the way they can do these deep fakes and stuff, I mean, I have no idea what they do. You know, you have no idea what they do, especially these intelligence agencies and stuff. I mean, they can pretty much fake anything, and it's really horrible. It's really horrible. Yeah, exactly. They act like they're seventh graders. I mean, I'm too old for seventh grade. I'm just too old for seventh grade. I didn't like the way seventh graders acted when I was in the seventh grade. I definitely don't like it now. I don't know. It just baffles the mind that our society has come to this. And now, are any of you guys feeling anxious about the election? Now, I'm not going to get political or whatever, but there's so many people talking about it. Doesn't matter who's elected, that whomever is elected, that there's just going to be chaos. There's going to be total chaos no matter who wins. That there's going to be violence and whatever. So I see that there are 10 people now here. Please remember to hit the thumbs up. I appreciate it. So for the people that are entering, I read earlier the last chapter in the book Forbiidden Tech. So if you listen to this chat on replay, you'll be able to hear what I said about the chapter. They were basically giving some advice about recording everything. Photograph, record, collect your evidence, and call these creatures out. Don't be silent about it. Anybody that wants to provide me written testimony, it could be anonymous, it could be, you can give me a fake name, but to read online, I will do it. I've got one person who lives in another country who does not want it revealed, because in other countries, they can be sometimes more punitive. Well, see, this is the thing, is at some point, you'll find somebody to provide the evidence to. But in the meantime, I mean, I highly recommend, I really do, I highly recommend that everybody create a YouTube channel. You don't have to make public all your videos. You can make them private and keep them there. You can make them public and then you can make them private. You can make them private where you have a URL that you can send only like to your family or personal friends, that maybe it's not public. But you can upload your evidence there. You've got to keep it in multiple places, and that's why you need to make it public too. You need to share it. It's sort of like when Myron May, he's a targeted attorney. He made a series of videos, and all 3 of them are on my channel, by the way, if you look up Myron May. He wanted his story to be told. He purposely made those 3 videos to be shared. Yeah, absolutely. I recommend filing complaints. I mean, some people say don't file a complaint. I disagree. You have to behave as you would if you were a regular, normal citizen. A regular, normal citizen may file a complaint, whether it's the Attorney General, whether it's with a local community board, whether it's the Realtors Board, whether it's with the Insurance Board, whatever it is, people do file complaints. That's why we have the Better Business Bureau. We have all of these boards set up so that regular people can file complaints. If you have somebody work on your property, they do a really bad job and won't come back to fix it, you go to the Department of Consumer Affairs and you file a complaint. And after you file a complaint, you have documented proof. You've got a date, you've got all the information, and then you save it. And it becomes public knowledge, so that other people who are looking up that individual, that business, can see that they perform bad work. It's sort of like the locksmith that I had here. Of course, when I filed a complaint against him on Yelp, it was taken down. But I was foolish to not file a complaint with the Better Business Bureau at the time. I mean, now it's a little bit past due. No, you don't file a complaint for illegal surveillance unless you've got proof. You can file a complaint for stalking. You can file a complaint if somebody is performing an illegal activity. An illegal activity is harassment, stalking, menace, trespassing, littering on your property. And as in my neighbor's case, having your dogs at large on a county road without identification of an rabies tag, it's against the law. And I can't say that it's against the law in the state that you live, but it's against the law like that in this state, and definitely in New Jersey. In New Jersey, if your dog is at large and somebody complains, that dog is going to be picked up by animal control in a heartbeat and taken to the local SPCA. And if you don't come and get that dog, it will likely be put down or adopted out. And if you do call and say, yes, it's my dog, I want to come and get it, well, you're not going to get it back for free. Not only are you going to pay like $100 fine, but you're going to have to pay to get your dog back. You're going to have to pay the SPCA. I don't know if it's I don't know what it is anymore. It could be $50. So you're not only going to have to pay a fine for your dog being loose, but you're going to have to pay to get your dog back. And that's the way it works in New Jersey. Yeah, well, these people are being paid. It's incentivized. And you have to remember that when they're spraying the skies and stuff, they're not only dumbing down, they're dumbing down the population. So if they're already dumb, they're just going to get dumber. I don't have a nice way of saying it. If they're already dumb, they're going to get dumber. If they're already sheep, they're going to be sheepier. They're going to be sheeple. And yeah, you should file a complaint. I don't care what anybody says, file a complaint. I'm going to file some more complaints because you have to document the evidence. And if the Attorney General doesn't want to do anything about it, well, then you file a complaint against the Attorney General. You just go up the ladder. Well, the weird thing is, I used to have a nice, sweet voice. It's not so nice and sweet anymore because I'm pissed. I'm really pissed off. I'm just really pissed off. I mean, they have unalived, poisoned, stolen my cats. They have torn up all their blankets, all their cat posts. They've poisoned my food, burned holes in my clothing, poured chemicals on my clothing to bleach them out. I can't even say bleach. They have used chemicals on my clothing that when I wash them, it really doesn't get out. Like the clothing, even though I dry them, it almost feels like they're moist to the touch. It feels like they're drenched in some kind of a chemical that I eventually throw it out. They did this with my pajamas. They did it with a pair of socks. They did it with a couple of dish towels I had to throw out. It's really disgusting. So when you file complaints, you have to, whatever your complaint is, okay? So if you're in an apartment and you're experiencing these things, then you go to your landlord or super, or whoever it is. If it's a bona fide noise complaint, I mean, most apartments have rules and regulations about the noise, like that it's supposed to like not happen past 10 p.m. Like there are ordinances. And again, I've only lived in two states, well, three states, New York, New Jersey, and here. And there are ordinances, city, state, county ordinances for noise, for animals on the loose, um, all of that. I don't know what they are in your state where you live. You'll have to look it up. It's really important that you know the laws in your state when it comes to your stalkers. Look up the stalking law in your state and write it down. Cut and paste it. Cut and paste the harassment laws in your state. Cut and paste the menace laws in your state. Cut and paste the animal laws in your state. They're different in every state, and sometimes they're different by county. Blue light is used for mind control. It's used in the screen. Yes, red and purple neutralize the blue effect. Yes, that's why, like, I've heard about these blue blocker glasses. And I think that's why they constantly knock me out with frequencies, but it's always pretty much after I've eaten or when I'm relaxed, when I'm sitting right here where I'm sitting now in front of the laptop. Well, actually, you can, you can purchase a digital recorder that is activated by sound. So you can get a digital recorder and turn it on, and it will record the thumping on your ceiling. I mean, you can just try it. But every targeted person should have a digital recorder. A dash cam, a camera, a flashlight. Also, there are pens that you can buy, and I don't do this enough because it gets to be ridiculous. Like you just want to live your life. But and actually, it's probably on the thing that they stole. There are pens. They're clear, and you can write your name or whatever on any object. It doesn't harm the object, and you can only see it under black light. And I've done that before, where I've used these things on my personal belongings, and they're there somewhere. I know that in New Jersey, I did it on my car. It doesn't harm the vehicle at all, but you can see it under a particular light. Let me see. Incandescent bulbs have red, purple, and blue. That's why. Oh, really? Obama made them illegal, and LED is blue only. Well, I have strobe lights that I purchased on eBay. They were only like $4 a piece. Did I get them on eBay or Temu? I don't remember. They were about $4 a piece, and they're round. And when I turn them on, they have red, blue, purple. They have all different colors. And I'll turn them on in my bedroom, and they reflect this like a strobe light on my ceiling. I've only gone to sleep with them a few times, and I'll just cover my face, cover my eyes so I don't see them. The 2005. Oh yeah, yes, he was Obama. I call him Obama. Yes, he was involved in that brain initiative. Yep. Yes, he was involved at that time. Yes, he was one of those that was promoting it. And then he had the Obamacare. Most people never read that horrible health care plan. What a joke. It was horrible. Please hit the thumbs up, guys. I see that there are 11 people. If you can hit the thumbs up, it helps. Please hit the thumbs up. It helps the channel grow, get the message out there. It helps the algorithms, which are really bad because what happens is whenever I post videos, there is someone or a group of people that automatically downvote all of my videos. I mean, even when this was the worst thing, like I uploaded videos about what was happening in North Carolina. Now, who would downvote that kind of a video? But somebody downvoted it to like 50%. Who would do that? That is just insane. Who would downvote a video exposing what's happening in North Carolina? What is happening to those people there? It's an atrocity. It's disgusting. But actually, it's exposed what's going on with FEMA. If anybody has been paying attention to what's happening to those poor people, oh, it's just horrible. And because so many of those people don't have their homes anymore, that these child protective services have the audacity to say that, oh, if the children don't have homes, then we should place them in foster homes. You're kidding me. These people are traumatized already. And it's so toxic there, too. It's just a huge land grab, money grab, and now they want to grab the kiddos. It just really pisses me off. It's like I can't even, I don't even recognize this country anymore. I like both of my parents are gone, but I wonder like if they were still alive today, like what would they be saying about what's happening now? It's really an atrocity. It's really horrible. But hopefully things that will change. I mean, it has to. It has to get better. It's very underplayed in the news. The only good information I'm finding is on TikTok. And then there are several channels on YouTube that is reporting what's happening there. One is, I'll type it in. Um, okay, one is Bear Independent, also known as Grindstone Ministries. Grindstone Ministries um, organizes people, teams of people, to go into disaster areas and help. So when we had the floods in Kentucky a couple of years ago, he had his teams there. When this happened in Eastern Tennessee and Western North Carolina, he had his teams there. Yes, their boots were getting also. They were bringing rescue dogs, cadaver dogs. Do you know how many of them have already died? The cadaver dog, these dogs are going there, their feet are getting chewed up, burned by something that's going on there. Their boots are getting eaten up, and a lot of those cadaver dogs have died. But nobody's talking about it. So I get my information about what's going on there with Bear Independent and Grindstone Ministries, and also Perma, Perma Pasture Farms and Perma permapasture consultant. The permapasture farms and permapasture consultant are father and son. They have two separate YouTube channels. They have both been there and donated time and items. There's also Kentucky Sustainable Living. They've been helping out. There are a couple of other channels out there, but those three there, I know for certain are really helping. There's another one, Patera, Appalachian Homestead. She's in Eastern Tennessee, and she's been helping there. And they're reporting what's really happening. And on TikTok, they're reporting what's really happening. It's really bad. And then on the last couple of days, there have been all this flooding in Spain. And then there was another flood in, I think it was in Puerto Rico. It was in Puerto Rico last week. And a bad one in Spain. In Florida. In Alaska? did not hear anything about Alaska. There's another person that reports a lot of the news. It's JWTV. Let me just write it in here. JWTV reports news. There was a hurricane in Alaska? Okay, because there's a YouTube creator named Alaska Prepper. I don't know if he mentioned it. I haven't watched him a couple of days, so I'm not sure. Let me see. Yeah, they said they brought in 2,000 body bags, and they were all used. But they did not report that. They were only reporting that like a couple hundred people were missing. Now, if a month later people are still missing, they will likely not be alive. Because even if they're trapped like in their home somewhere, a month later, if they have no food or water, it would be unlikely that they could survive a month that way. There was a woman on TikTok who lives in, I think in Michigan or Minnesota, okay? And she was like very intuitive. And she was watching people posting photos of what's happening in North Carolina. And she was actually finding people hidden that were being missed, being glossed over in the photos. Sort of like, I don't know if you've ever seen those old books called Hidden Pictures, where you look at a scenery and then you find a little hidden picture. Well, this woman who does not even live in North Carolina was viewing photos that people were posting and saying, like, look over there. There is a BODY stuck in that tree, or there is a BODY in the trunk of the hole in that tree. And then they would go, and yes, they were finding people based upon what she was seeing in the photos. It was remarkable. And her videos were going viral. And again, that was only on TikTok. So, yeah, so many things are not being reported. Well, look, when was the last time you heard them discuss directed energy weapons in the mainstream news? When was the last time you heard them talk about the mind control technology that's being utilized on the unsuspecting public? When was the last time the mainstream news talked about the fact that there are watch lists that you can't get off once you're on them? When was the last time you heard any of this in the mainstream news? You're not going to hear it. The only way you're going to hear it is if so many people come out and so many people are talking about it. That's the only way. And now we've got all this election stuff coming. But anyway, I'm so glad, whomever joined the chat. Uh, yeah, yes. Yes, yeah, it's just so sad. I mean, it's unbelievable. Water of water, 30 feet high, through the hollow bodies in the treetops, and kids looking for their parents. It's hideous. Well, there was another story, not to be gruesome. It was just thinking about it kind of makes me ill. Just imagine. So, like, imagine you're a family and the water is rising, and let's say you're on your rooftop and you can't go any further. You figure, well, the best place is to climb a tree. I mean, that kind of makes sense, right? Climb a tree, wait in the tree. Well, maybe in New Jersey that would work if you're climbing a tree, right? But not in the Appalachian Mountains. They have bear there, and the bears were hungry. And I need I say more? So this family climbs up a tree, and they were unalived by a bear. I mean, they just stories are just horrible, horrible, horrible stories. And they interviewed a man. They found a man. This was a rescue, right? They finally found a man, and they found his head is above this mud, and they're going to rescue him to get him out. He said, "No, leave me here." And they're saying, "No, no, we want to rescue you and whatever. Where's your family? Blah blah blah." He said, "No." He said, let me go." He says, "I have nothing to live for." And the rescuers are saying, like, "No." He says, he said, "You don't understand. I stopped feeling my family clawing at my legs underneath me 3 days ago." He says, "I don't want to live anymore." He says, "There is nothing for me." They lost their house. His head was above. And there was finally a rescue for him. And this is like a horrible, horrible story. But there's so many of them. Just one after the next after the next. It's just, this is the United States. And then, they're setting up these alleged FEMA camps there. But it doesn't appear that they're set up to be helping these people. They're setting themselves up for something else. But anyway, it's midnight, and I started, just a couple of minutes after 10. So thank you all for joining. I'm going to end here. I'm so glad, for the people that were able to join tonight. I see that there's 7 people here. And I'm going to end this live stream. And please remember to leave, any other comments that you'd like after I post this, which will be within the next couple of minutes. It will be up there so that you can listen to it, on the replay. And thank you all for subscribing. And for anybody that's listening that wants to send me their written testimony, my email address is alternativehomesteading@gmail.com. It could be, you could send it to me. I want to know who you are, but I don't have to disclose who you are in reading your testimony. I know. It's so sad. I mean, and you and I are sort of like of the same generation, and like it just, I don't, like, I don't even know what to tell my daughter anymore. I don't even think she believes me. I don't think they could wrap their mind around what's really happening, because they haven't lived long enough to see the way it was before. It's just, I don't know, growing up in the 60s was like, I don't know, the 60s and the 70s and the 80s was like wonderful. All of the rest of this has been a nightmare. It's just a nightmare. And yes, our country has been sold out from under us. Oh, no, not at all. No, what ends up happening is, I've noticed that, well, everybody has different schedules and stuff. And there are different people that join in the live stream at different times. And I've noticed that tonight there are different people here than that were last week. So, everybody has different schedules and stuff. And some people, maybe they don't want to join in the live stream sometimes because they last a long time. And sometimes they're listening to other channels. I'm not the only I'm not the only channel out there. And it is Saturday night, and some people actually have a life, and they're not at home. So, no, you didn't chase people away. It's important, and also I know that we don't always want to hear all the doom and gloom stuff, but this is really what's happening, and we need to talk about these things and not push it under the rug. Not dwell on it, because it gets us down as targeted people. We're already down, and we've got to keep our energy levels up and stuff. But this is what's happening around us, and we can't ignore it. I mean, we've got people invading the country. We've got crazy people in office right now. We've got this election coming up. And plus, as targeted people, we have a different perspective on everything anyway. Yeah, there's just so much going on. Yeah, it's midnight here, just a little bit after midnight. Yeah. So, but thank you so much, Terry, and happy early birthday. And for anybody that's still here, thank you so much for joining in. And thank you so much for hitting the thumbs up. I'm going to end the live stream now. You can always email me privately if you have any good articles, because obviously I'm very busy here with the animals and my own targeting. And this time of the year, I have leaves. Hi, Paris. Hi there. Welcome, welcome. Yeah, I'm going to be ending the chat, but this time of the year, like, I'm raking leaves. It's so time consuming. And you can imagine living on the edge of a national forest. I don't have a few leaves. Like, I thought raking leaves in New Jersey was a chore, but here it's like it's a whole nother story. But yeah, so Paris, what you'll hear on the replay is I read the last chapter of the book Forbiidden Tech, The Complete Guide to Energy, Social, and Biological Technologies They Did Not Want You to Know About, by Naima Morris and Tivon Rivers. So I read the last chapter, and it was geared towards helping targeted people, and what to do. And they actually said document everything, record it, videotape it, file complaints, keep records, post everything online. Got to keep a record of it. I post everything online. And I'm gonna say this is the last thing I'm gonna say, and then I'm gonna really end it. When I was in grade school, required reading was the Diary of Anne Frank. The Diary of Anne Frank. Anne Frank was um, this is during Nazi Germany and stuff. And Anne Frank was she was a Jewish girl, and she was taken in by a family to protect her. And what they did is they gave her a hiding space, like literally in the walls of where they lived. And they kept her hidden there. And she lived there and she wrote a diary. She wrote this diary growing up there during this horrific time. And if she did not document what happened to her, we would never have known. And that's what we're doing. Because what is happening to targeted people is, how do I phrase it? It's a genocide. It's human trafficking on a worldwide level. It's satanic ritual abuse and it's trauma based mind control. And I have two theories. And the two theories are that targeted individuals are paraphilias for these perverts. And I have a video about that. You can look that up on my channel. And that we are, all targeted people, are a ritual sacrifice for these sick witches. Okay? And they choose the dates, the times, and all these things, just the way they did on May Day here, where they, with some technology, cut a 1-inch triangle in my right forearm when I was wearing a long sleeve sweatshirt and a compression long sleeve shirt that were unharmed. So the technology is off the charts, and I can't show it to you. YouTube took it down. They took it down. They took down the photo. It was too graphic. But if anybody would like to see what they did to my forearm through 2 layers of clothing that were unharmed, you can email me at alternativehomesteading@gmail.com. They don't want you to see this. But anyway, the Diary of Anne Frank is a classic, or it was a classic back in the day when I was growing up. It was a required reading to learn about the Holocaust and what survived the Holocaust. And we, targeted people, are a Holocaust. We need to document what happens to us and post it online. Because we all know Edward Snowden said that we leave a digital footprint. It doesn't matter if we erase it. It doesn't matter if these criminals erase it. There is a digital footprint somewhere. So post your evidence online. Post your photos online. Create a YouTube channel. Don't be afraid. You don't have to show your face. And you can even email me and I will read it on my channel and post your photo along with your testimony if you want me to. So, but anyway, I'm going to sign off for now. Thank you everybody for the thumbs up. I really appreciate all you guys. And if there are any topics that you want me to discuss, you can always email me. Let's see. I will send you a link to a TI channel like no other. Last night's thing about it's Fahrenheit 451, and they don't teach. Oh yes, they don't cursive writing. Oh my goodness! When I was in school, we had to we had to write like the cursive letter A, B. We had to do the entire alphabet over and over and over again. And my cousin who went to Catholic school, they had the perfect penmanship because those oh my god, those nuns were so strict that if your cursive, if your penmanship wasn't good, they would literally take a ruler and hit you on your knuckles in Catholic school in the Bronx, where I grew up. Yes, that's what they did. I went to public school. They didn't do that to us. They went to public school, but we still had to write in cursive. We still had to write in script. Yeah, and still had to be legible. Oh, yeah, please tell me about a story about Anne Frank. All right, good night, everybody. I hope everybody has a good night. I'm going to end the live stream now.